Ladies and gentlemen, we want you to stand and we want you to make some noise.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go racing here at Knoxville.
Only the best go three abreast.
It is show time at Williams Grove Speedway.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here at Eldora Speedway, it's showtime!
You got them for a breath. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the world of outlaws.
It's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy because, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime!
Set to do battle for 30 laps. The green flag is waving.
Hello again, it's Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength, talking sprint car racing. We are so glad you joined us. Erin, Evernham, and Steve Post zooming our way through the pandemic. Erin, how are you?
I'm great. I'm in Florida at the beach, so I've got no complaints. How about you? Big day on Sunday?
Bless your heart. Bless your heart. Oh, poor little dumpling down there on the beach. Yeah. I'm ecstatic because we're back racing. Back at a racetrack on Sunday. And, it was strange going there, strange getting there.
Yeah.
Strange leading up to the race. When they said, gentlemen, start your engines, it got totally normal until they threw the checkered flag, and then it all got strange again. But it is so good. And Erin, I think this is one of the, it's certainly not the way we want things to be. Nobody wants it to be this way. But to me, it's like this has been a series of steps. And we started in the sprint car world, we started with Park Jefferson when Terry McCarl put that event together. And then the World of Outlaws came back. And then NASCAR comes back. And then IndyCar has a plan. NHRA has a plan. It's a series of steps, and it's great to have these steps, but it's painful to walk these steps too. And but another step has been accomplished with that race at Darlington.
Yeah, I think keeping that positive perspective is a huge thing. Not racing related, being here in Florida where we are, they've started to reopen. Yeah. And it's interesting. The beaches are actually more crowded than they have been. People are still respectful and they're far apart. But we went to a few restaurants where you can eat on the patio, and it's a step in the right direction, but it's eerie. People have masks on. You're trying to sit far apart. But like you said, as long as we keep that mind path, that mindset that we're heading in the right direction, I think that's key.
Yeah. We're facing with it because North Carolina is one of the slower states to open up.
Yeah.
And right directly where Darlington is, South Carolina is opening up quicker. And I'm thinking there is a trip to Redbone Alley, one of the great Charleston-style restaurants in Florence, in my future, either today before the Xfinity race or tomorrow before the second Cup race. Because
how did I know you were going to bring food into this?
Exactly. I don't even know. I won't even know how to act in a restaurant. Well, I'm not sure I ever did in the first place, but it is. It's something else. It really is, and it's fascinating stuff. That's for sure. Let's take a look at our classic ink, screen printing, and embroidery hot topics. And really, I think the hot topics are the steps being covered. Jackson Motorplex opened up this past week. Brad Sweet picked up a win. We're going to talk to Brad, but good to see another track come online with racing this year.
It was really nice, and we're good friends with everyone at Jackson Motorplex, and they had a great car count, great quality of cars, and I thought it was a great show.
Yeah, it really was. And not to be outdone with the great tradition of racing, we were rained out up there, too, on the second night. So it's like some things haven't changed. That was a sense of normalcy also that we seem to deal with in the sprint car world. Speaking of normalcy also, our second guest is Mark Smith. Hold the race. If that M1 pulls in, let's see who wants to be second. Who's going to be second? Because totally normal. He swept the USCS weekend, and boy, that cat has got that 360 program figured out with USCS. That's for sure.
He sure does. 8 wins this year. Most people haven't even gotten to run 8 races. Yeah. He's got 8 wins.
I think the only thing that is not normal about this pandemic, and we've joked around and we've talked around about this, and he's a friend of yours and mine, Pete Walton, the guy that runs USCS. I knew the pandemic was serious when Pete stopped having races. Because Pete will race anywhere, anytime, any place. And I knew the pandemic was serious when Pete was canceling races, but now they're back up and running. So probably Pete's got about 60, 70, 80 more races between now and Snowflies. So, but it is good to have that sense of normalcy back. And we'll talk to Mark Smith in just a little bit as well. And there you have it, our classic ink screen printing and embroidery hot topics, offering full custom driver apparel and embroidery wear options, full-service embroidery department specializing in headwear and outerwear, an experienced design team, a dedicated sales department. Erin, they've got it going on, Classic Ink, up there up in Western Pennsylvania.
They sure do, and it's not just for racing. Local businesses, school districts, sports teams, you name it. A lot of people use Classic Ink. Sheldon Hanshield, Donnie Schatz, Danny Dietrich, David Gravel, Stremmys, with Lethal Chassis, our good buddy Ashley, Tony Stewart, Brian Brown, and the list goes on. For more information, go to www.classicinkusa.com.
Yes, indeed. Make sure they'll hook you up. That's for sure. Speaking of hooked up, we talked about Jackson this past, This was Friday night. Saturday got rained out, okay? Friday night, Speed Shift had us hooked up, okay? Austin Lloyd with the call, one of the great announcers we have in the sport right now. Austin's just really a cool dude, young guy that's coming into this thing and taking the world by storm. And, of course, a good announcer needs a good battle to call. And this one, Donnie Schatz and Sheldon Hanshield battling it out up at Jackson. It's our Dryden Diesel all-death-defying move of the week.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
He races for the lead out of turn number 2, side by side down the back straightaway. Hanshield tests the outside of the speedway in turns 3 and 4. Off of 4, you've got a new leader. It's Sheldon Hanshield.
Holy smokes.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Death, the official death of the world of outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
Pride. Passion.
Performance. We are Team Dryden.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Welcome back. It is Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. Hey, I want to remind you, before we get to Brad Sweet, who's joined us here on the program, that Hercules Tires has their spring rebate, where with a qualified purchase of 4 Hercules Tires, you can win up to a $70 Visa gift card. www.herculestires.com/spring rebate. And joining us on the Zoom line, fresh off from a trip to Victory Lane at Jackson Motorplex, is Brad Sweet. Hello, Brad. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
All right. We talked about this as we set the phone call up, as we chatted with you before we came on the air. All of our Zoom backgrounds, our Zoom background game is so much better than it was in the past. You're actually in front of the race car. Where are you at? Tell us about the car. What's your Zoom background setup?
I'm actually in my garage right now, and Casey and KKR gave me my championship car from last year. Basically, as it came off the track, the final night in Charlotte, it's got the same tires and wheels, everything, minus the engine, but something that I wanted to, keep, and he gave it to me for, keepsake to have, just kind of a big deal for us. So once I build a shop, I'll put it in there. But right now it's in the garage, and it looks pretty cool, definitely.
It absolutely looks really cool. Brad, you had a great night Friday in Jackson. You picked up the win. And you talked about Casey Kane. He finished 4th, which was really obviously great for both of you. I want to talk about your win in a minute, but how fun has it been to have Casey back at the track racing and to see him get a top 5 like that?
Yeah, I think it's really neat for him. Obviously, he's had a rough few years with injuries and just not being where he wants to be. with some of his health stuffs. But, it's nice for him to get back in the car and, just go out there and have some fun. I think he's just really in a good spot in his life, and, he's having fun doing it. There's no pressure with the 9 team. Obviously, James was slated to race the car, but he's stuck in Australia right now. So it's nice that we have, Casey right there to kind of jump back in and, kind of fill that void. And he had a lot of fun. He ran really well all night. And, I look forward to him getting some more laps and getting comfortable, and hopefully he'll keep running good like that.
Yeah, it was great to see Casey running up front for sure. Brad, your night, you mentioned something about Casey at a good spot in life, no pressure, okay? Last week we had a World of Outlaw race. This coming week we have a World of Outlaws race, but the Jackson one was kind of an open show. Well, it was an open show. It wasn't kind of an open show. It was an open show. Is it different going into one of those races like that, or your competitive juice is still the same?
It's actually quite a bit different. You do feel a lot less pressure. It's not going to affect the overall season. And typically we wouldn't race non-outlaw races, but obviously these are just, different times right now. And, who knows, how many races we're going to get in. And obviously we want to get the Napa Auto Parts car on the track as much as possible this year. And, we felt like it was a nice weekend to go and, test some things out. And, it's not a critical race for us. It didn't affect the points or anything. So it's definitely more relaxing, less pressure, but you always want to do good when you're out on the racetrack. And, it was nice for us to get a win and get a little confidence back. We didn't go as good at Knoxville as we'd hoped. So there was a really stout field of cars. I know it wasn't an outlaw field of cars, but you still had to race a lot of the good guys up front there. So it was nice that we were able to get that win and come out of there feeling pretty good about ourselves.
For sure. Brad, you said you didn't run that well at Knoxville, but you came, I think, forward 10 spots and still ran 9th, which obviously for you might not be a great night. But what is it about the Midwestern dark soil, flatter tracks that suit your style? I mean, for you to run, 9th at Knoxville was kind of a disappointment. And then you go here to Jackson and win. What is it about that type of racetrack that suits you?
I don't know. It's a good question because it's, there's definitely something to it. There's a lot of tracks in the Midwest that it's definitely our, best part of the country. So the longer that we get to stay in that area, the happier I am. But no, I think just something about my driving style and how I keep the car loaded with my feet and stuff is, good for flatter tracks. And, bank tracks have been, a little tougher for us, but we did definitely get a little better last year at some of those tracks. So there's just that region there, those dark tracks, especially Jackson's really fit my driving style. I really, really like that. And obviously it races like a smaller Knoxville. So, we love Knoxville. And like you said, 9th was a little disappointing for us. Even though we came from 19th, the car just wasn't where we wanted it to be. And obviously it's nice that we get to go back there in a few weeks. And that was one reason that we really wanted to go to Jackson. It's just, we thought we had, found some issues and, hopefully it definitely translates from what we thought we found to Knoxville here in a few weeks.
Brad, you said something there, and the next time I climb into a race car will be my first time. So I've not driven, and maybe Erin knows exactly what you were talking about. But you said the way you keep your race car loaded with your feet.
Yeah,
I have no idea what you're talking about there.
Yeah, not Fred Flintstone, but
that was what
I use a lot of brake, and I think it's just something that I've developed over the years is basically just not getting in the corner maybe too hard, or just figured out how to make my car feel good on those flatter tracks when a lot of guys haven't. And there was years there that I wasn't good at the flatter tracks, but just over the course of time I've kind of figured some things out. Without giving too much information, it's just there's 2 pedals in the car, and to me the brake pedal is just as important as the throttle pedal.
Very interesting. And I knew what he was talking about, but I was never able to do it that well. So I understood it. Brad, going back to Friday night, the track took rubber at some point during the feature. It was kind of hard to tell when you're watching, through speed shift or whatever. But as a racer during the night, did you know it was going to take rubber? Did you see signs in heat races? What was it like from that perspective?
Yeah, I mean, they do a good job at that racetrack for sure. They have a lot of great equipment, and they're always trying to stay on top of it. It's just 60 cars. It was a warmer, kind of windy day, and so it dried out pretty good in qualifying. And then we ran the heats, and towards the end of the heats, it was getting close to needing a rework. And when they reworked it, they just probably didn't get enough moisture back in it. And then the B mains, the bottom got real clean. So we knew there was, potential, but they did the full rework before the A. So you really don't know. Jackson does have a characteristic of, blowing off fairly quick. Especially once it gets to that point of, it was just about rubber down in the Bs, or it actually was. So it's really hard to get rid of rubber once rubber's in the racetrack. And, they reworked it and watered it. The A main was, I thought, as good as it could be with the cars that were dealt that day. And, it was only really rubber down the last 5 or 6 laps. So we had the whole beginning of the race to kind of race, and obviously we were able to come from 6. So, there's definitely ways to pass out there. And, that's just the way some tracks play out, is you got to kind of be able to adapt to whatever's happening.
Brad Sweet joining us here on Wing Nation as we continue the conversation, talking sprint car racing. Brad, you go out and you score a win, and I think when I think about sprint car racing and I think about great moments in the sport, your victory lane celebration at Knoxville, just the excitement, the thrill of it. You go and you win, and I understand Friday night was not Knoxville. Okay, I get that. It was not the Nationals. But you want to talk about the total opposite, because the Knoxville Nationals, people are everywhere. Jackson, people are nowhere. What is that moment like when you get out of the car after a win like that?
Yeah, it makes you sure miss the fans. It's hard to celebrate by yourself. It really is, and it makes you appreciate those times that we do have the fans to celebrate with us, and we do miss them. It's definitely been eerie and weird to not have them, and it was kind of like you get out and who you celebrating to. It's I know there's people watching on Speed Shift, but it's a lot different than having the announcer and having the fans yelling and being happy with you, so it's one of these times where we're just hopefully trying to get through this. It's taking our first few baby steps, and I surely wouldn't want it to be like this for very long. I know everybody's ready to get back going, so hopefully I don't have to do many celebrations to no fans.
Brad, Steve and I talked about that in the open of the show, is that, hopefully these are steps. And Steve and I were talking about the race at Darlington this past Sunday, and, talking about a NASCAR, all those teams are they're driving distance right now. They're keeping the races close to home, but that's not the case with the World of Outlaws. You guys are coming from all over the country. How has travel been for you? We talked to David Gravel a little bit about it last week, for him coming from Florida, but you're coming from California, your team's in North Carolina, you're racing in Minnesota. Talk about logistics, how difficult that is right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a hurdle to convince local communities that we're going to be, safe coming from different areas. But, travel is essential in having a family life and a work life. And obviously, I just take every precaution that I can. And, the airlines are doing the best job that they can with masks and keeping the planes clean. And it's definitely, something that's on your mind. You're definitely washing your hands more often and, wiping your seats down. And, my health is very key to, everything at this point, for not only me, but the series and the other drivers. So we all have a responsibility to take care of ourselves, to try to, keep this thing progressing the right direction. Obviously, you don't want to get sick, but if somebody does get sick, it's definitely a step backwards for everybody. And, so I just try to be as cautious and take care of myself as best that I can. And, obviously, take the social distancing very seriously. And, hopefully everything's been working in a positive manner so far. And obviously this next weekend, we're going to have a little bit of fans. So that'll be, nice to see some fans, but I know that the World of Outlaws will take every precaution, again, to make sure that we're, all safe and, keep moving that needle forward, because we really want to be able to have a Knoxville Nationals and a Kings Royal and a Jackson Nationals this year. And obviously those are going to be the hardest ones to get in with needing the most fans. So, hopefully we can keep moving that needle forward.
Yep. one step at a time, one process at a time, that's for sure. And we're with you on all of those events. Hopefully we get a chance to get out and have some fun at those. Brad, congratulations again on the win at Jackson on Friday night. We appreciate the time, and thanks for the insight, sharing what you're dealing with and what you're going through. We always appreciate our visits. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I hope you guys stay safe and healthy, and hopefully we'll see you at the actual racetrack soon.
We can't wait. Brad Sweet joining us here on Wing Nation. We need to step away. Another guy who spent time in Victory Lane this weekend, Mark Smith. He joins us next.
Hey, Ashley, what are you up to?
Oh, I just stopped by to grab some sage fruit apples. Now I just have to decide which ones.
You can never go wrong with a Honeycrisp. They're light, crisp, and full of perfectly balanced flavor.
Oh, hey!
You could always go with one of their classics, the Gala or Fuji. They're both sweet and juicy.
Grown in the heart of Eastern Washington, Sage Fruit Company works hard on the farm and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears to consumers all year long.
Well, I couldn't decide which ones. Thanks for the help, guys.
I'll race you to checkout.
Power isn't born. It's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain. And we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Welcome back. It is Wing Nation, presented by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. We talked about what is abnormal and what is normal. Well, what is normal is Mark Smith in Victory Lane. He did it twice again this weekend, and he joins us on the Zoom call. Hello, Mark. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Hey, how you doing?
Good to see you, man. Hey, congratulations. It doesn't look like you lost any steam during the pandemic break.
No, not yet. We hope to keep it going like this as long as we can keep finding races to go to.
Mark, what is it about the 360s with USCS? I mean, you've always been very successful, but the success you've had with USCS in the last 6 months, year and a half, whatever it's been, is pretty incredible. What is it? Is it the style of tracks that they're racing in the Southeast? Is there something going on?
I guess. I don't know. We don't really do much to our cars. I like these little race tracks because, where I'm used to is all the big half miles and stuff. And I really enjoy running these smaller bull ring tracks. And I guess it just fits my style because I kind of cut my teeth on small tracks. Silver Spring Speedway in Mechanicsburg, it's no longer there anymore. But so I got used to racing them little tracks, and then you get on these bigger tracks. But I guess it's just kind of fitting what we're doing right now because basically all we do is put tires and fuel in the thing, and we just go to the next one.
Tires and fuel, and that little tour, I am telling you, between Terry Gray and a lot of times Tony Stewart will drop in and visit with you. Danny Smith's been running a lot of the races. That is a really neat group of hardcore racers as well that you're getting to race against.
Oh yeah, like Terry and Danny. I mean, they're pretty much there on their own. Danny has a guy that helps him, Gary. And then, but Terry usually just has Morgan with him. And when I'm going, it's just myself and Jerry Burkett that helps me all the time. So it's kind of, a bunch of little small groups and we just all hang out together. It's a pretty good little deal.
So, Mark, are you planning on staying in the Southeast? Or are you going back to Pennsylvania? What does it look like since our schedules are still a little up in the air?
Yeah, I'm going to stay here for as long as they're racing around here. I'm staying because there's nothing in Pennsylvania, and it doesn't look like anything's going to be going on there for quite a while. So I'm just going to stay down here, and if I can run, stay in the smaller stuff, the racetracks, especially with my 410, because I don't have a really big hitter for the 410 stuff. But I'll run whatever I can find. And
right,
I'm based in Mississippi right now, so it's a lot easier for me to get to most of these races within about 6 hours or so. But I'll venture out to 15 to 20 from here. So you never know where I might end up.
So you basically have become Gypsy Racer Mark Smith. Okay, so it used to be Pennsylvania Racer Mark Smith. Now it's Gypsy Racer Mark Smith. Did you just take the whole shop and move it into the transport? I mean, how do you?
Pretty much. I have everything. I even have my 3 dogs, my wife, and my 2 kids with me. So we're pretty much, we're staying here in Mississippi at the Howards. Dale and Josh Howard, they're real nice people. They were able to, give us a spot to hook up our motorhome. They give us a shop to work out of, and they have a really nice piece of property here that, we can go fishing in their pond and, do all that stuff. So it's, it's kind of home away from home.
Wow. We talked to Brad Sweet earlier, and he talked about his big win at Jackson this past weekend, and there was no fans, and, talked about travel logistics. What has it been like racing in Florida? I'm actually in Florida right now, just came down from North Carolina, and it seems like a lot of the states reopened. How has it been in the pit area, the race series, all of it?
It's kind of business as usual there on over the weekend. Nobody was wearing any masks. It was just kind of nice because it was normal, and there was fans there. So it didn't seem any different than any other time. I'm sure some of these other places now, I think Farmington, if we go there, I think are allowed to have fans and stuff. So I hope I don't have to go anywhere that we don't have fans, because I don't know, that'll seem really weird.
Yeah, it has. I was at Darlington this past week, and I know it's a different scale than NASCAR race, but there's no denying it's weird. And Brad actually talked about that winning up at Jackson with no fans. It's a strange combination. That is for sure that we have there. So Mark, another one aspect of what you do is the chassis building business. Now, is this the downtime of the year where how is that working with you being a gypsy racer now?
Yeah, I mean, we're usually get slow at this time of year, but right now we're shut down. I have cars in stock. I mean, I still will deal with customers if they want us to ship them stuff, or if, I have some cars there. So if guys need a car or something, I can get them a car pretty quick. But as of right now, like Pennsylvania, they don't want us really working. I mean, we can, but it's, you're not really supposed to, because they don't consider us essential. So, but I guess Pennsylvania, I think, is still shut down until like June 6th or something. So we just packed up everybody and we moved to Mississippi for now. So,
Mark, you mentioned it's the downtime for you usually, but I'm sure you usually have some repairs and no one's racing, so there's not too many bent up chassis right now.
Yeah. No, there's not. I have some equipment with me that I could, repair some small stuff for people if they, have some smaller things. I have my shock dyno and stuff, so I could rebuild customer shocks and stuff. And Dale has a shop here that we work out of, which we, if we need to do something major, I think we can figure out how to get something done.
The old school.
After having this conversation, I have full confidence you could get something done, because you got the wife, the kids, you're fishing, you're racing, you're doing all. I mean, that's called winning to me. I mean, yeah. Everyone else in Pennsylvania is wringing their hands and whining and pissing and moaning, and you're just busy racing. I really like it, actually.
It's great. I guess they say it's living the dream,
Oh, I'll tell you, that is awesome. Mark, I am telling you, I appreciate I love the story as much as anything else, of course, but I appreciate the conversation, and thanks for joining us and sharing with us here on Wing Nation today.
For sure, and I'd just like to thank NGK Spark Plugs, Ryder Racing Engines, and CSI Shocks, and our NRG Controls, obviously Mach 1 Chassis, with all of our sponsors that we have that, that helps us get to the racetrack. But we're always looking for new ones, and maybe we'll have some announcements here in the next month or two, hopefully, on some newer sponsors. But we're working on that, so hopefully we'll have something to announce.
I know we've already started to say goodbye, but that leads me to another question, and this is podcasting where we don't have a time at the end of the hour where we got to get rid of it, okay? You've hired an agent. You have really worked hard on the business end of that. I guess the question is why, although it makes sense why, but what has that been like for you?
It helps because I'm not a social media person, and it helps with that. And to be able to get better sponsors and stuff like that, think you need to have somebody that can help you, go after because I'm not much of a talker. I use my right foot. So I just, so I need some help. And actually that's how I got my truck ride was actually Shelby Park Marketing. They've been doing a really good job, and they've been working with a lot of sprint car racers here lately. And, I think it'll make big difference here later down the road. It just takes a lot of time to get this stuff going. And, with the way the times are right now, it's even tougher to get sponsors, but we've had some stuff in the works, and it's just taken a little longer than expected, but hopefully everything will work out here in the end, and maybe here towards mid-season we may have something to go for.
Man, that is good. Yeah, your guy Armando, man, he's great. He keeps us in the loop on everything, and I really appreciate that. As a guy that's in the communication business, he does a wonderful job. Well, Mark, again, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much for spending the time and sharing the story with us, and we wish you the best from down there in Mississippi.
Yep. And you all stay safe and have a good day.
Absolutely. Mark Smith joining us here on the program. So Mark Smith having a lot of success with USCS. Another one of our friends here on the sport is the ASCS Tour. And while the national tour has been shut down, we are starting to see some regional races come along here, Erin. And as I look at the calendar here, coming up this Friday, Cleveland, Texas, the Lone Star State has a race. Friday and Saturday out in the Southwest region at Vado Speedway Park. They have a race, some non-wing racing action, Colorado and Oklahoma. ASCS 9 regional tours, 6 wing divisions, 3 non-wing divisions. But, boy, you want to talk about a nightmare. That has got to be a brutal challenge for Emmett and Brian and everybody there to juggle all of these, keep all of these balls in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only worrying about the national tour, the postponement and rescheduling, but they've got all those regional series. So, but like anything else we've talked about today, at least we're seeing some steps in the right direction.
Yep. Lots of states involved and lots of counties and racetracks and everything else. You can find out more at ascsracing.com. That's www.ascsracing.com. Stay with us. More Wing Nation in just a moment.
Power isn't born. It's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain. And we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Pride, passion, performance.
We are Team Dryden.
It is Wing Nation, presented by Hercules Tires, right on our strength here on wingnation.com. So glad you joined us on our website and on all our social media channels. Erin, I know we got to talk about aggressive hydraulics here, but I just can't get over Mark Smith just packing up and leaving, taking the wife, taking the kids, taking the dogs, taking everyone with him, and just saying, to heck with this, I'm going racing. I respect that so much.
Me too. I mean, he's such a true racer. You pack up everything in your shop, you pack up your whole family, you take the whole operation down south where they're racing, and you just, wherever you can go. I mean, Mark Smith's a great guy, and obviously it's working for him. 8 wins so far this year.
Yeah, and while the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is not allowing chassis builders or anyone else to do things because they're not essential, Mark continues to be the key marketing element of the Mach 1 chassis. Because he wins every time he climbs out of one of them. So it is cool. It is really, really neat. And so fun story for Mark Smith. Just like racing components, Aggressive Hydraulics purpose builds hydraulic cylinders to perform for customer-specific applications. They design and manufacture mobile-style single-stage cylinders as well as multi-stage telescopical cylinders, and no one size fits all when dealing with aggressive hydraulics.
No, they have hydraulic solutions for virtually every industry that uses hydraulic cylinders. They're proudly designed and manufactured in the United States You can check out their video, their story at aggressivehydraulics.com. Also a proud sponsor of Ryan Newman at the Chili Bowl and all his short track racing.
And boy, I stood there on top of the tower at Darlington. They're doing the parade laps. And despite the fact he's sponsored by Oscar Mayer, okay, get that right out of the way. But to see Ryan Newman rolling down the backstretch behind the wheel of a race car, I am telling you, that right there did some chill bumps. So really, really neat. And I know our friends up at Aggressive Hydraulics share that. It was good to see Ryan Newman a 15th place finish at Darlington, including a spin down there in turn number 1. A pretty good day for the old boy down there. Good to see him back at the racetrack.
Absolutely. The beginning of the television broadcast the other day, they kept showing the wreck again in Daytona, and it was still hard to watch. Even though we know he is where he is and he's doing great, man, it's a miracle.
And he was so open, and Motor Racing Network has a story, MRN.com, and a lot of other places. He had a teleconference, and boy, it's not often, and this is where engineer Ryan Newman is so beneficial. You smile, you're an engineer. It's like it takes smart people, and Ryan's been involved with NASCAR for years and years, and it's all of these smart people that have allowed him, and no doubt he's acknowledged that he's a miracle too. He's acknowledged that he is a walking miracle, but all of that engineering and everything, and fascinating stuff from Ryan Newman. You can find out more about that at MRN.com. We always like to take time during our broadcast to talk about the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, located in turn number 2 on the Marion County Fairgrounds at Knoxville. Okay, birthdays earlier this week would have been Hooker Hood's birthday. Shirley Keir had a birthday yesterday. Bill Vandewater coming up later. Bob Swikert, Gus Schrader, and Bob Jones. Today, Pat Sullivan's birthday. So love some Pat Sullivan. So wish him a happy birthday. But listen to this. Paul Weirick, okay, born in 1910 in Los Angeles, inducted into the Sprint Car Hall of Fame in 1996. He was a sprint car builder, one of the top sprint car builders and owners in the 30s and 40s. He had this car, the Earl Gilmore Oil Special, also known as Poison Lil. I have no idea. I couldn't find out why the name was Poison Lil. Okay. When he sold the car, that was in the mid-40s, or the early 40s. When he sold the car in 1949, over 200 wins, 2 world records, 10 titles. He was a 5-time AAA car owner, champion from 31 to 36. Paul Weirick, that is. Another one of the great stories out there. And that's the beauty of it, is it's guys like Paul Weirick that led to the next builders and owners, that led to the next builders and owners, that lead to who we have now. And I just think the stories out there at the Sprint Car Hall of Fame are absolutely amazing. They really, truly are.
They are. Right now the poor Sprint Car Hall of Fame is still not allowed to open. And obviously they're not racing weekly at Knoxville. So any support that we can give the Sprint Car Hall of Fame right now is truly appreciated by them.
Yep. Go on their website, Sprint Car Stuff, and get yourself some goodies, because they've got some great things out there. They really do. That website is phenomenal. And so you can certainly do that. Also selling tickets for the second floor for the Knoxville Nationals, and the Sprint Car Simulator Nationals are coming up during the 60th annual Knoxville Nationals. They have purses, prize money, and everything else. It's in the Emmett J. Malloy Pavilion under the Clausen Suite Tower. So, Erin, we've talked so much about iRacing and simulators. We're going to crown a Knoxville National Simulator champion later this year. Now, that's pretty cool as well.
It is. It's very fitting, and I'm sure the competition level is going to spike after all the iRacing we've been doing this year.
Oh, my God. You want to talk about taking things seriously. Woo! And don't, whatever you do, don't go on social media and call it a game. Oh my gosh, no. Oh, it is. It's pretty cool. It's fun stuff, that's for sure. We talked about in the Sprint Car Hall of Fame, Paul Weirick. Okay, one of the cars that he built in the early 1930s, I was just looking at this, was a Model T Ford that was raced by Stubby Stubblefield. So Paul Weirick, we've talked a little bit here, Ford Performance, one of our new partners, and we've talked a little bit about this, but this ties into sprint car racing and our history so much. one of the early pioneers in Ford racing was Paul Weyrich, inducted into the Sprint Car Hall of Fame, because he built this Ford Model T for Stubby Stubblefield, which that's a great name, by the way.
That is. That is a good name right there.
So you can go from the 1930s, and this really goes back all the way to 1896, when Henry Ford started building these, the late 1800s, and started building this thing. But then to the 1930s, and Erin, by the way, Sunday at Darlington, Kevin Harvick won, and guess what was on the nose of that car? One of those blue ovals. So the Ford history continues on.
Absolutely, and we keep talking about it, but Schatz and Stewart and everything they're doing with the Ford engines in sprint cars again.
Absolutely. So Ford Performance, a great tradition of winning, a tradition that dates back to the late 1800s, and a tradition that dates back to Sunday. So pretty cool stuff. Really, really neat. We appreciate our friends at Ford Performance. Coming up later this week, we're going to talk to Jeremy Elliott, and I'll just be anxious to get his perspective from across the board. Of course, he's SprintCarUnlimited.com, but he's right there in the hotbed of Pennsylvania. He did not pack up everything and leave like Mark Smith did. No. Okay, so I'll be honest with you, Jeremy. He's going to join us on our Thursday podcast, and on Saturday on our MAV TV show, Sheldon Hodenshield going to join us from his new race shop, by the way. So always good to talk with Sheldon, isn't it, Erin?
Well, anyone in that family. If your name is Hodenshield, thrilled to talk to him or listen to him any day.
Yes, no doubt about it. Great stuff. So, hey, we appreciate Brad Sweet and Mark Smith joining us here on the program. But more important than all of that, thank you for joining us here this week on Wing Nation, presented by Hercules Tires.
Wing Nation has been brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. Watch Wing Nation Saturday mornings on MAV TV. You can also find Wing Nation on wingnation.com or your favorite podcast provider. Wing Nation is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.